Welcome to Occupational English Test, also known as OET. This training video is on the reading subtest. Let us look at the test format for the reading subtest. You are given 1 hour to complete this test or 60 minutes. You are also given a total of 42 questions. These questions are divided into 3 parts, namely Part A, Part B and Part C. Here is a description of what the reading subtest is basically like. In Part A, you are given 4 texts. A total time of 15 minutes is given to complete this particular section, and you are given 20 questions. These 20 questions cover healthcare area topics, and usually they are on the same topic. The texts are labeled Text A, Text B, Text C and Text D. You are given a variety of question types. The documents given or the texts given mainly cover practical reference documents for specific conditions and treatments. The next section is Part B, where you are given 6 extracts and 1 MCQ, also known as multiple choice question for each extract. The content here is based on workplace communications. Part C consists of 2 long passages. They are on different healthcare topics. Each of these passages contain 8 questions each. For Part B and C, you are given a combined time of 45 minutes, where you spend 10 minutes for Part B and 35 minutes for Part C. Here are the types of questions that usually come for Part A and the strategies to answer them. First, you must notice the kind of questions given to you, the question type. They are usually consultation extracts. You will mostly be given 4 possible task types. They include matching the information or short answer type questions, sentence completion, note completion, flowchart, table or diagram completion. If you are given any one of these questions, they are often followed by 2 of the other task types. Now in Part A, the 20 questions will be split up across 3 or 4 groups of questions. They are usually split up in the following manner. The first group is split up from 1 to 7, the next group from 8 to 14, and the final group from 15 to 20. Now here are some strategies to answer this type of question effectively, and they are: scan the 4 texts to locate the information needed. A lot of these questions cover overall meanings, identifying what each of these texts are telling you or what kind of information is present in each of them. Therefore, the scanning technique will definitely help. You can underline important words and phrases, match them with the text to find out the detailed meaning. The questions do not necessarily follow the order of the texts. Pay attention to the words in the question. Try to identify the types of questions given and apply your strategies accordingly. Now, when you are given matching the information type of questions, you must try to understand the question correctly. A lot of times students just look at 1 or 2 words and find similar answers in multiple paragraphs or multiple texts. This often happens when you are not able to understand the question correctly. So first, understand the question. Check the context within which the question is given and what is the main idea in that question. Then go ahead and find the matching information on the basis of your reading skills. If you are given short answer type of questions, then locate the correct word or short phrase given by matching them with the question. Look at the 4 texts in detail. Here you are asked specific questions. In certain parts, you might have to delve a bit deeper. Sometimes you can find the answers in a single sentence. Mostly words related to medication, treatment or reactions could be covered in this particular type of question. Finally, you've got sentence completion. Here you are required to fill the gaps with a word or a short phrase. Analyze the sentence properly. Look at the words before and after. Is the sentence asking you for a definition? Is it basically an extension of an idea? What is the subject in that sentence? These are some of the things you have to focus on. Part A, Practice 1. Now here is a sample of what Part A looks like. You have been given a series of questions. Using the strategies mentioned above, you are supposed to solve the answers. Your text booklet, from where you are supposed to find out the answers, has been attached in a PDF form and sent to you. You must read that in order to find out the answers mentioned here. This includes the second set of questions. As you can see, the first set ends at 7, the next set begins from 8 and continues till 14. This is your reading passage. You must read this and answer the questions given. Now let us look at Part B and the description given for Part B. You will be given 45 minutes for Part B and C totally, although you are suggested to spend around 10 minutes for Part B. This section usually consists of short workplace extracts. You are required to understand the different reading text types given. In this part of the test, there are 6 short extracts related to the work of healthcare professionals. You will be given 1 question for each extract. For questions 1 to 6, you will be asked to choose the answers A, B or C, which you think fits best according to the text or the question. This particular type of question assesses your ability to scan and skim the information. The 6 different healthcare texts include generic hospital-based text, text guidelines, policies and procedures, best practice, updates to a data storage system, how to use machinery. You will also find notices, emails, manuals, memos and guidelines as a part of this type of question. Now let's move on to the next bit and see how this question can be solved. Here are the strategies to solve this type of question or the type of questions given in Part B of the OET Reading subtest. You must read the text carefully to identify the correct answer. Sometimes students miss out on small words or get fixated on matching only a set of words. And multiple choice can be quite confusing when it comes to selecting what kind of answer fits best within the given context, which is known as the question. So, first and foremost, make sure you scan the question thoroughly. Look at the main subject or the main topic in the question. Look at the verbs describing that particular question or that particular topic. And check for any differentiating factors. You will not be given additional time to read and you are suggested to spend 10 minutes on this particular part. So try to spend 1 minute to 30 seconds on an average to complete each question in Part B. If you're doubtful, then just move on to the next question. First, identify the main ideas in the question. Then look at the options and see which are the most obvious or common words occurring in the options. Now, here are some of the type of questions that you often get, and they are mostly related to details. So you need to answer questions about a specific part. You are suggested to skim the text for common words in the questions. Select relevant information from healthcare texts. It is suggested that you must read through instructive materials. Mostly try and understand what is being spoken about, why, and within which context. Most importantly, what is the purpose of any email or communication mentioned. It is a good idea to pay attention to sign words and notices that usually turn up in the English language. If you are confused, then look for synonyms and look for how they are different from the text given and how they have been rephrased or paraphrased. And by they, I mean the question and the options compared to the extracts. Mostly, understand the overall meaning of the extract. Once you have gone through this entire procedure, choose the answer that best corresponds to the question given. Let's take a look at some Part B practice questions. As your instruction suggests, in this part of the test, there are 6 short extracts relating to the work of healthcare professionals. For questions 1 to 6, choose the answer A, B or C which you think fits best according to the text. So this is the kind of instruction you will be receiving. This is what it looks like, and these are the instructions to the candidates. This is what it looks like in the actual test. So here is a sample of the Part B practice. This is your extract. This is your question which gives you the context. These are your 3 options. You have to scan the information given here or understand the context and the main idea. Look at the 3 options. If you find something that is not very obvious or has the chances of being eliminated or has the least chances of being an answer, then definitely keep that in the last. Once you do that, come back, read your text. Try and understand the context within which this is given. Mainly try and read the introductory lines, that is the first 2 or 3 lines and probably the last 2 or 3 lines, as they will give you an entire summary of what the text is about. And then go ahead and select your answer. For example, this question is asking you the following things. The manual informs us that the blood pressure monitor. Now look at the way the word has ended. There is most likely a possibility of some form of verb that will follow. We're talking about the function of this particular equipment. So when you're reading, look for that particular thing, keeping this in mind. This is your Part B. The practice is continued. This is the second piece of extract given to you. Follow the same strategy as before and select your correct answer. Now let's come to Part C. This is a description of the questions and the type of strategies you need to use. We'll be following up this. So here you are given 2 extracts. You will find 8 questions per extract. These extracts are known as presentation extracts because the style of articles used here are taken from those published for a healthcare audience in a healthcare setting. They're not specifically aimed at any one healthcare profession. It is quite generic. The terminology can easily be understood by any healthcare professional. The combined time is 45 minutes for Parts B and C. So you are suggested to spend 35 minutes to complete Part C. Now let us look at some of the strategies to answer this type of question. You must read the instructions very carefully. Briefly look through the text or glimpse through the text to get an idea or understand the gist or summary of what is being discussed. Again, as it's mentioned here, you need to understand the general meaning and context. Look for cues and prompts in the question. Make sure you try to find relevant information. You need to identify main ideas in the text and the paragraphs. Different aspects of healthcare are mentioned here. So what you need to do here is understand the organization of the text, and by this I mean understand what comes in the first paragraph, second, third and the following paragraphs. What are the ideas mentioned in each of them? Make brief notes while practicing about the main idea and the sub-ideas. The kind of questions asked here are usually related to details or based on attitude and opinion. At times, there could be questions related to vocabulary or reference. You will definitely find at least one reference question in Part C. You are suggested to understand how sentences have been used, break them down if you are confused and if there is too much information, as this type of text often uses complex sentences. Focus on the views and opinion of the writer. Make sure you know the format, understand the general meaning of each of the paragraphs. The information is usually in order. Make sure you answer all 8 questions for each text type. 2 texts are given on different topics. The questions might be directed to specific parts. Part C, Practice 1. So this is what Part C looks like. Your instruction is given here. It basically says in this part of the test, there are 2 texts about different aspects of healthcare. For questions 7 to 22, choose the answer A, B, C or D, which you think fits best according to the context. Your main topic is given here. Following that, there are several paragraphs. So read, skim and scan, understand, follow the strategies discussed in the previous slide. The text is continued here. You must continue reading, making notes all the while. This is the third part of the same text. Continue reading. You can pause your video at this particular point. Here are the questions related to Part C. Part B ends at question 6 and the first set of questions in Part C begin from 7, continue till 14. So read the question, scan it thoroughly, check the main idea, look for these keywords and phrases, look at your options thoroughly. If there are any obvious options which are not related, you can eliminate them. Focus on the common words here. Go back, match and see if those words fit and which one fits best into the context given. Here are a few more questions related to Part C. Using the same strategies as before, you can continue. Once you're done with the practice, you can match your answers with the PDF of the answer key provided. If you want to learn more about reading or enhance your knowledge and vocabulary in grammar, then I suggest you can go through these resources. It will really enhance your language skills and help you to understand a lot of things that you are unfamiliar with. That is the end of this particular training video. All the best with your practice.